I will start with this resource management application and talk about the roles and privileges that we have given to this resource management application. Right now this resource management application has three modules. One is for all projects, another one is all resources, and third one I created as a report module to see the types of projects that we have within the organization. If you go to the project property here, within the project property you will see that I am using a user role which is known as RMG standard role. So this role I have specified to make sure that the standard, any standard user is having access to view rights to this application, right? So see here, when we create tables, we actually provide different roles at the table level. So when we created the table for this case as well, when we go here in the edit application, I created two tables. One is all projects table. If I go back here on the controls page, when I create this all projects table, here in this section on the controls tab, by default a role gets created. I changed that role and created my own role here, or you can utilize the same role, and I named this role as RMG All Projects role, right? So this RMG All Projects role goes into this. Let's assume this goes into this table one, where I have this RMG All Projects role for me, right? If I go back to the other table, which is resources table, you will see that there is another table level role that I have created, which is RNG all resources role for that table. Right, so if you come back to here, this screen, you will see that RNG all resources role will be associated to the table 2, which is here in this case, right? Now, so if any user has access to the RNG all projects role, it means that that user is capable of going into this table 1, right? But it means that he is not capable of going into the table 2. Right? So if anybody has to access the table 2, he must have the RNG all resources role within his role listing. Right? Now, these two are table level roles, right? Table 1 and table 2 level roles I have created. So this goes into table level. But how do we ensure that the user gets access to the application as a whole, right? So for that, what I did is I created a standard role. So if I go back to the roles here, what I did is I created a standard role here, right, which is RNG standard role. So if I come here, I'll name this role as RNG standard role, right? Now RNG standard role will ensure that the user has access rights on these tables, provided you provide a nesting of what all tables you want to allow to be accessed using this RMG standard rule. So if you see, if I open this RMG standard rule, you will see that I have table level roles associated to this RMG standard rule. So let's go back. We are into RMG standard rule right now, and if I scroll down, you will see that RNG all projects role has been associated into this role. So I did RNG standard role contains RNG all projects role into this. So this type of relationship I established, right? So the relationship that we established is, here I'll write contains, and then I'll scroll down a little bit and I'll write RNG, what one is this? All underscore projects, right? So now what we are doing is, we do not have to assign users the table level roles. Instead, what we can do is we can provide the users access to this role that we have created, the standard role. And when we provide access to that user, when we provide this role to that standard user, the standard user will be able to access this role, and hence he will be able to access the table 1. Right? Now, another requirement from you was that there should be another role that will that will be able to access all the tables and edit all of the records into the table, right? So for that, I created another role which is RNG Admin Manager. So Admin Manager comes somewhere. Admin Manager is here on this box, the top level box that I have. This one goes with the Admin Manager role here, if you can see, right? So the admin manager role would contain this standard role as well, and this standard role in turn contains the RNG all project roles, right? So let's go back here within the role section, and you can see this RNG admin role is here. Within the RNG admin role, I have access to the RNG all resources, which is this table, and RNG all projects, which is this table, right? So within this RMG project manager, RMG admin manager, I am allowing user to access both the tables available into this application, right? Now, so we
Uh,
are, yeah.
Rahul, you are showing only in the paint-based screen only, right? Not moving other screen.
I am switching between the screens from paint to
Oh,
others.
okay. But still it's showing me in the paint-based. I thought that you are showing only in paint-based screen while
Anand, you
talking,
have
but
internet issues, you said.
mm-hmm. Yeah, now
No,
it's I can able to see.
no. Actually, he switched only first time, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not.
Okay, okay.
Alright. So,
Okay.
yeah. So now we have two types of roles. One is
Okay.
RNG admin manager role, another one is RNG standard role, right? So to the user, we'll only give either the RNG admin manager role or we'll give RNG standard role. Now within these roles, there are roles contained. The RNG admin manager role is going to contain the both the table level roles that we have. So it will contain, I'll write it here, it will contain what? Number one, it contains RNG all projects, and number two, it contains R, oh, it's RMS. So RMS, anyways, it contains RMG underscore all resources, right? So to user, we will either give RMG standard role, which will allow the user to access the all projects table, or we'll give RMG admin role, which will allow the user to access RMG all projects or RMG all resources, right? Make sense? Now, if we go
Yes.
back, if I go to users, what I'm doing now is I am using these three users on top of the list: Apple Tutor, Adela, Servans, whatever name is, Elena, Morton. So for the three rows that I have created, right now we only discussed about two of them, have been associated to these three users. So let's go ahead and see what role I have given to this user, which is Apple Tutor. When I go to Apple Tutor, I expand it and I go to the roles section. You can see that I have given the user role of RMG standard role, right? Now but you also see that there are two other roles coming up here, SNC read only and RMG all projects, right? Now remember, RMG standard role contains RMG all projects role, right? So that's why when you when you provide access to this role, a standard role, it will bring all the contained roles into the list. That's why you are seeing RNG all project, right? SNC read only is a role that we'll talk about why I have used it. But right now, I associated this RMG standard roles, and then the two contained roles within this RMG standard role will appear for this user as well, right? Because these are inheriting the roles coming from the standard role. Now, if you go and click on the edit button here, you will only see that I have selected the RMG standard role here, right? But since the RMG standard role contains the other two roles, it will bring those two roles into the list. Make sense? Anand?
Yes, it's inherited.
Yeah, it's inheriting the two roles that it has. So it makes sense that when now Able Tutor logs into his account, he will be able to see what? The RNG all projects. Yani, that means all projects module that we have into the resource management application that will be available there for the user Able Tutor. So let's go and impersonate that. I'm impersonating Able Tutor now. When I impersonate, I see that the resource management application is available, and within the resource management application, the user is able to see the all projects module here, right? But you see, here this user is not capable of creating a record into the list of records available. The new button is not available. And that's because I provided, I prohibited the user to create records into this table. Since this user is just a standard user, I do not want this user to create record into this table. I want only the authorized user to create records into this table. This user can only view whatever we have into this table and this module, right? So there is no new button. You cannot create any new record into this table using this Able Tutors account, right? So to maintain that, to enable this read-only table for the user, what I did is I added to the standard role, I added one more property, one more role. So if you see the RMG standard role, it will contain one more stuff, which is, it contains another role that I have, which is known as SNC read underscore only. So another role that I associated as SNC read only, that ensures that this table that we have created will be accessed by the standard user, and it will be read only rights that the standard user gets. So if I go back to the standard role, you see this standard role contains two things. One is RNG all projects and another one is SNC read only, right? So by having this SNC read only role into this role, it ensures that the user has read only access to the table and not writable access. Make sense now?
Yep.
Now let's go to the second role. The second role that I created was admin manager, refer to the screen as well. The admin manager contains RMG all projects and RMG all resources. So if I go here, I can see the RMG admin manager has two roles, which is RMG all resources and RMG all projects, right? There is no SNC read only role included into this, right? So remember, we are not making this read only role for the user, right? Now we gave this role, RMG admin manager role, to a user into the system, and that user was Adela Servant, whatever it is, Adela. So what I did is I went into the system for this user Adela, and then I provided this user access to the RMG admin manager role. You can see here, I granted the admin manager role to the user. I granted just one role to the user. When I go back, I see that there are three roles associated to it. RNG admin manager, which is the role I provided to it, but then it brings along with it the two roles that it contains, which is RNG all projects and RNG all resources, right? So Adila is the person who should be able to see the two modules of the application, and Adila should be able to see the two modules as a writable module, meaning you will be able to see the new button for Adila. So let's impersonate Adila. When I come back here, I see resource management, I see both the two modules, all projects and resources. Now I go into all projects. When I open it, I see the list of record, but then I see the new button as well, right? So let's go ahead and create a record and find out if we can do that. And I'm going to do a service now discovery project. I'm going to make myself as a project owner, and start date will be today, and I'm going to submit it. When I do that, a new project record has been created. So this ensures that the rule that I have created is a writable rule, and the person having this rule can write onto the all projects table. If I go to the resources table, I can see the the records available into it and the new button. I can create a new record here as well. And here is the list. And you can see that I could insert a record into this table, right? Using Adila's account, I can create records into the table, right? So the rule that we provided to Adila was a writable rule, having access to both the tables. All right. Now let's go back. The third thing I did was to bring a module into the application, which is project type report. Remember, I am using admin account right now, so if I open it, I'll be able to see a report, which is a dashboard. This is a donut chart that I have created, and that gives me a report of the number of the type of projects that I have into the organization and the count of it. So it right now shows to me that there are 75% of my projects are development projects, and only 25% of the projects that I have are maintenance projects. So this is a kind of report that I created onto the table based upon inputs from the project table, right? Now, I want that my users should be, a set of users should be able to see this report. Not all of the users should be able to see that report. That's what I want, right? So for that, what I did is I created again another role that I have. I go to the roles table, and you can see I have another role that is known as report admin, right? So if I go into the report admin role, then this role you can associate to this box here, and you can see the report admin role is coming up from here, right? So this report admin, if I go back into this, and you can see that, in order that report admin can access the report, he must have first of all access to the application, right? First of all, he must have access to the application. Just by creating a report admin role, I'm not authorizing the user to access the application. Am I doing that? I'm not doing that, right? So to allow the user to access the application, what should I do? I should allow the user to get the standard user role as well, right? So for that, I'll have to do this thing. I'll do contains RMG standard role. So this means the person who has report admin role will be able to access the application itself having the RMG standard role, right? Having RMG standard role ensures that he is able to see RMG all projects along having the read-only rights, and he is able to see the reports that are created into the application as well, right? So here you are allowing access to a default table, a single table from the standard user role that you have, along with the report admin access. So let's see what we have done here. So within the RMG report admin, what I did is I included this RMG standard role, and having this standard role will bring the standard features that you have within the application will be assigned to the proper user who is having access to this RMG report admin role. Alright. Now this role I associated to a user, and the username is Eileen Morton, right? So let's go back and impersonate Eileen. When I impersonate Eileen, and go check the application, I can see that the user can access the resource management application. For sure, he will be able to do that. He or she will be able to do that because the user has an RMG report admin role, and RMG report admin role contains the RMG standard role. And the RMG standard role contains RMS all project role that we have for the all project table along with the read role on the RMS all project table. Right? So that's why you can see that the all projects role is coming, module is coming up here, and when you click it, you are still able to see the read-only view of the table because you have this standard role, and now you also see that the project type report is coming up here, right? Now, when you open this project type report, this is an error that I have to fix. But when you open this project type report, you see the project report that you have created for that user. So it will bring out the report, the latest report that you have here.
Rahul, we can fix this. We can only show to the report admin project type report. If we give only module type level access, so we'll for that particular role, then can we do that?
I don't understand. I don't understand the question.
Okay. The question is now since we are giving that report admin what you call, can you go back to this MS Paint?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here this RMG report admin to access the report module, we have to give application access by using RMG standard rule, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So by virtue of this, he is also able to access all project module, correct?
Correct.
So what I'm saying is we have to inherit it that we can't stop, but we can stop actually all projects, just to give access to this role to see the report module only.
I think that can be done as well. I understand your question now. I think you want
Yeah.
to create a rule that will only allow the report section to be visible to the user and not all projects. Is this
Right,
what
right.
you
No,
mean?
no, that's yeah, correct. But the same role, if you go to the same role, can you
Mm-hmm.
go to the same role? No, the role actually RMG report admin to the role actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anand.
Okay. Modules with role one, in that tab
Mm-hmm.
we have project type
Report.
report, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's only one model we are showing, but he's also able to see all project also.
Because I had this standard role.
Okay, okay. So you added specifically that module there,
Yes, I wanted,
or
see, because this is not a table that I have created. If you see into the resource management application, this is a module that I created by going into the module section. I went into the
Mhm,
modules of modules and then I created a new module here, right?
mhm,
And this module I created was created for the resource management application, right? And then I
mhm.
chose the link type as a runner report and the report was project type report. And this report actually I created into the report section. I went into the report and created a report here onto the report table, right? And this report is a donor type report. So what I did is I created a report on the all projects report first or table first, right? So I created a donor type report, saved it, allowed access to this report to a particular group, which is RMG report viewer group I created, right? So there is another, access modifier that we have on at the report level. So you can have this access modifier implemented on the report level as well, where you can find out
Hmm.
information on what group or people you want to allow access to this report to, right? So
Okay.
I created
Mhm.
this report. I have this, permitted to the remote report admin users, and then I went into the modules, created a new module, project type report, and this module is now containing the link type as a runner report, and report is the project type report that I created earlier, and I associated it. And then I gave the role as report admin, which is mandatory for this project type report module, right?
Mm. Actually, if I ask my question very specifically, what I was trying to tell you is under resource management, we have three different modules. Okay,
Hmm.
can we isolate the access level of each module on a different role?
You can,
So let's say, okay,
you can.
so when we are giving access, for example, to the project type report, okay, at the same that same time, we don't want to show all project
You
and
can do
resources
that.
module to that.
You can
Yeah,
do that.
okay.
You can do that.
Yeah, but in but in our current model which you are showing us, in
Mhm.
that we are actually using a inherited
Right.
role. That's why. Okay.
That's right. So you will have to play with it. You have to design roles. How do you
Mhm.
want to, allow your users to see your applications or modules? So you can play with
Mhm.
that. You can do that.
Mhm.
You can have a role which is only allowing you to, show a couple of modules which will have
Mhm.
the reports, etc., not allowing the access to the
Mhm.
tables at all.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just tweak a little bit tomorrow. Maybe I can add a group and I'll provide those roles to that group, and then I'll add those
Yep.
key user in that group.
Yep. Please do that. And if you see, I created a group as well. So for that, I did a report viewer group, RMG report viewer group. And if you go into this group, you will see this group contains RMG report admin role, and it contains two members, Aileen Morton and Rahul Rakesh. So these guys will be able to access all those areas of the application which is contained into the RMG report admin role. So this way you can play with it. You can see, you have this inherit property, right? So you can play with this inherit property as well in different roles that you create and see what type of access you want to provide to the user and what not. Okay?
Yep.
Try
Okay. Yep.
try doing that.
Yep. Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay. So I went through your requirement sheet. I think it could be a good use case, good application. If we elaborate these use cases a bit more, um, see, uh, if you see the project table, I included few more fields into it, trying to put few more properties to this table, and then now what I want to do is I want to give more properties, more more columns to it, and then no, not this one. This is a different table. This is a different instance. This is my instance. Okay. And then,
Now, actually, what I wanted to create is like, we have given this access to the project manager, right? They
right.
can go into the table and add the record.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than doing, if you remember that exercise, we created some UI for these people, and
Mm-hmm.
rather than accessing this table, they actually access that UI, yeah, this kind of a UI, which is a built-in UI. But if we create a custom UI for them,
Mm-hmm.
and and we'll link that UI to our each table so that they can use that UI and you know fill the
Right.
form. And
Right. So
yeah,
see, try exploring different form UI elements that you have here. Right. When you go
okay.
into the studio. right? You are onto the project, the application that you chose. Now, if you do create new application file, go to the form and UI and try to explore all the options available here. You can see you have form, list layout, list control, related list, style, context menu, view rule, UI page as well, scheduled page, timeline page, map page, UI macro, UI formatter. All these elements that you have here. When you select these elements, you will see what table this record goes to. For example, list layout information will go into sysui list. Form will go to sysui form. List control will go to sysui list control. So when you create this cell, this record, this application file, that will go into this table, which is to right of this pop-up window. Right? If you create a context menu, that goes into sysui context menu. View rule, sys rule view. So this way, you can create a UI. For example, if you create a UI page and put certain certain links to another UI page, that UI page will actually take input from project managers and insert a record into the project table or a resource table. You can do that too. And that UI page, you can uh, put that link of UI page onto certain areas of the application, and that will be accessible to the users. And you might tweak your application modules to show only the UI pages and not the list of records, right? So try playing with all these elements. Try doing that, whatever you have in mind. Uh, wherever you think you should use UI page, use UI page. If you are using, if you just want to produce records, use record producer there. So according to your requirements, you can, try using all these elements and build an application.
Okay.
Okay. And in the meantime, if you have noticed, I did this reporting. This was a requirement on your end that the
Yeah.
generate a report of resource allocation for a project. It is not for a resource allocation of the project, but I did it for all types of projects that I have within the organization. So if you see the all project report, the all projects that I have here, the project type I introduced as development and maintenance, right? So whatever project record you create here, it will be either development or a maintenance project. Now you can see here I created 3 records for a development project and 1 record for maintenance project. Now if I go back to the report, this report will show the same stuff here. But to show the same stuff, what I did is I named it as a project type report and chose the data source as the table, which is all projects table. You can see it here. I chose the type as donut type, which is the type of chart that I am using right now. And I am grouping it by the project type. If you see, this is the project type. So I am grouping on the field which is known as project type here. And you can see it here, I have grouped it on the basis of project type. And then I am doing aggregation, count of the type of projects that I have. So I'm grouping on the project type field and getting a count of it. And that's why I'm showing a report of the different projects that I have and the different types that they are of. And that is getting displayed here. So this was the last requirement from you. Other requirements we have, I'll try to bring that all of those requirements into this application and we'll pass that on to you. Okay. If you want to access this application as of now, I can download the update set and send that to you so that you can start working on this one if you want
Yeah. Yes.
starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me go to update sets and this should be into the resource management applications. I'll open this one and instead of making it in progress, now I'm going to make it released and putting a release date and I'm going to update this. I made it complete and then I'm going to create a new this will be resource management uset version 2.0 and this is I'm going to make submit and current. So this will be my current update set. I'm getting rid of this default update set. Default one is not required. It was just created. This will be deleted. This is my current one, right? Okay. Now what I need is, I need this downloaded. I'll do export to XML. Folder. This is the one. Let me rename it. Resource management. Something like this. Now I'm going to send this as an email to you. Right. So, so for now, you can go ahead and import this update set into your environment. Before doing that, please clean your environment because you might have the conflicting resource management application there. So if you want to clean that up, you can. Please clean that up. And when you go in there, please try to see that you have all those roles created like I have here. So I'm going to save this screenshot as well. RMG, and I'm going to name it as roles. Right. So I'm going to send this as well to you. So you have a list of all necessary stuff that you need to get this resource management application running. Right. So if something gets missing, you can fix that as well. So try to import that, try to play with it, create new UI, and next time when we work on this, if I have new changes to this application, we will do it using team management, right? Team development. We'll push or pull it using the team development feature available in ServiceNow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all for today. I am not going to take any new topic. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Monday, and we'll talk to you about new topics then.